Thank you for joining me here for a 30-minute just move practice. Today, we are going to focus on core and hip opening. A really nice combination where it allows us to feel like we get a good amount of work, get that energy, that effort, that little bit of squeeze of our inner aspects. So, our abdominal wall, our side waist, and our back body. So, we're going to do elements that support all of those. We're also going to do just a little bit into our shoulders to create some stability and work onto some side planks. And I'll give options throughout. So if it's an area that you feel is limited, then just take your time and I'll give you options as we go. Then we'll complete with a couple hip openers and get into a space of rest to rejuvenate. So go ahead and lie onto your back to start today. So as you make your way onto your mat, keep your feet flat as you lie back. Let your head be neutral and at center. Take your left hand onto your heart and your right hand onto your belly. And if it feels good to let the knees fall in and widen the feet, go ahead and do that. We just want to take a moment in space and time to ground into the earth through our feet, through our tail, the connection of our middle back, the back of the head and the shoulder blades, so that there's a weight and a recognition of the weight of gravity on our body. As we move through our day, we do so often mostly in an upright position, and that allows us an opportunity to move against gravity. But by tilting us back here onto our back body, we're allowing gravity to work in a new way. So I want you to take a breath into your lower hand, your right hand. Feel your belly press against gravity towards the ceiling. Pause at the top. And as you exhale, use gravity to pull your navel towards your spine and your front ribs down towards your back ribs, towards the floor. Do that 3-4 more times. Actively try to push the belly up and open. And then as you exhale, drawing it down and the front ribs down. We're offering our mind, body a space to oxygenate our brain and our body with a deeper inhalation and a true awareness to how our breath is moving. Now you might feel under your left hand the beat of your heart. You might feel a subtle lift and lower in that space, but maybe not as much as you do into your bottom hand. Keep going for a couple more. And take an opportunity here to set an intention that's supporting what you're creating here, which is one, a connection to our core. Maybe your word is connect. Two will be an opening into our hips. And perhaps that word for you is ease or release. And allowing one or two words to dance in your mind. So if you get distracted, you come back to them as often as you notice, as often as you recognize that you've disconnected or become less aware of where you are in space. Now from here, toe heel the feet together. So the knees and feet are right together. And tilt your tail slightly so you remove any curve out of your lower back. I want you to feel what that feels like in the inner abdominal wall. So you might feel a little bit of tension. And I just want you to release it as you breathe in. You'll feel the lower back curl away from the floor. And as you exhale, a little tuck of the tail, navel towards spine. Now, this is really easy to do if you're very mobile in your lower back. It can be more challenging if we're more rigid or stiff in this space. But what I want you to focus on is you should have a subtle curl a curve, sorry, into your tail to your mid back. So even if you can glide your fingers or kind of wiggle your fingers underneath your lower back, that there should be some space here, that we're not trying to flatten our lower back. We want to be in a natural curve. And once you're there, you're going to pick up the knees so that they're over top of your hips, and your feet hover at about knee height and your toes are flexed. So you'll see all 10 toes just ahead of your, or just above your knees, like little flowers blooming. Now take your arms straight up to the sky, palms face your feet. And on your inhalation, you're going to extend your legs, and they can just go straight up towards the ceiling or slightly out on an angle, arms straight back. And as you exhale, bring the hands to touch the knees to hands. There's a tension here as we press. Then inhale away from center. Exhale back in. Inhale away. Exhale back in. Now, if you start to feel a lot of tension in your lower back because it's curling high off the mat, then really focus on your exhalation and the navel towards the spine, like you're trying to eliminate any curve from your lower back. That's often why the direction is to try and imprint your lower back, your tail into the floor. We want to have a little bit of that natural curve. So as you inhale, reach away. Exhale, pull in, exhale fully. Press hands to knees, knees into hands. Inhale away. Exhale back through center. One more. Good. As you pause here, take your right leg over your left for eagle legs. So the outer pinky toe hugs the outer shin or tucks behind your calf. Now your left toe should still be visible over your knees here. You can have the knees quite pulled in just to release your lower back, and take your right arm underneath your left for eagle arms. The hands off the face here, the shoulder blades on the mat. Head is still heavy. We're not going to lift the head and neck for this one. We're just going to work on pulling elbows towards knees, squeeze, and then inhale away from center. Exhale, elbows to knees. Even if they don't touch, they're moving energetically in that direction. Inhale away. Exhale, pull in. Now, it might feel like as you reach away that there's a limit here. Try to extend that limit, reach further. Pull in. Two more. Away. Pull in. Think navel towards spine. Last one. Make it full breath. Then place your left foot down. Release your arms for a moment. Unwrap the legs. Go left leg over right. Pick up your right foot. Wrap your left toes or pinky toe to outer shin. Left arm underneath the right. Hug elbows towards knees and actively pull them towards each other. So even if they're not close, you're hugging in that one day they will meet. Hands off your face. Inhale away from center. You can go higher up for less intensity. Exhale, pull in. If you want more intensity, go lower with the legs, closer to the floor, but away from you. 3 more. Let there be a little fire started in your belly here so that there's some heat for your whole body. Last one. Place your foot down, release your arms, take a breath. Catch the hands to the outsides of the head with fingertips, or wrap your hands behind the head to interlace. I want you to keep the elbows on the floor, the head relaxed. You'll take your right leg straight up to the sky, and then lift your heart and your head together. Exhale to lift. Elbows pull back, head heavy in your hands. So it might feel like you get closer to the floor. That's fine. Keep lifting from your heart. As you lift from your heart to your toes, chin off the chest, feel the line in your low belly connect. Breath in, A little higher as you breathe out. Now, if it's hard to keep the right leg straight, a little bend is fine, but keep pushing the heel skyward. 2 more breaths. Head heavy, elbows back. Notice how your elbows naturally start to point to the ceiling. Try to squeeze your shoulder blades further behind you to lift your heart. Now release your head to the floor. Place your right foot down, left leg to the sky. Just 5 breaths. So inhale. Lift your heart and your head together. Elbows back, head heavy. Full breath in. A little higher as you breathe out. Now, if you're quivering, you're shaking a little here, you're in a good place. And without that little quiver and shake, we're not doing much. We're just going back to what we know. So challenge yourself to go a little higher. 2 more breaths. From the corners of your mouth up just for a moment. And then release your head, release your foot to the floor. Now for a subtle move here, all we're going to do is lift the head and the heart. But you'll wrap the elbows forward. Now this will have a tendency to pull your chin to your chest, so lift your chin off by pushing into your hands or your fingertips. Now all we're going to do here is reach the elbow like we want to touch the ceiling, but go left elbow high, and then right elbow high, and then left and right, and little breaths out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your head, elbows wide. Take a breath. And a hum. Second one here, you can keep your feet exactly as we just did. Option to take the knees back to over the imaginary box or your heels up to the sky. So wherever you are, choose. Take a breath. Lift your head and heart. Point the elbows up towards the ceiling. And there's a subtle, like you're trying to touch the outer pinky toe or the outer knee of your legs, but up towards the ceiling. So for 10, little out breaths. Half breath in and out. Release your head and your heart, your feet to the floor. Take a breath and a sigh. Now stretch your legs as long of your mat as you can, but actively heels press down and a push away. Hands interlace and press up behind you. The hands don't have to touch the floor, but if they can, you can bring your pinky fingers down, but stretch out through the elbows. Let the whole body get long here. Exhale fully. Think about tucking your front ribs in. One more. Now, as you release your hands, pull your knees in, wrap your arms around your knees, and then rock yourself front to back from hips to shoulders. Now from here, we're going to come all the way up and over to hands and knees. Now we want to warm up our shoulders a little here. We're going to do that with a tabletop position. So as you find your hands and knees, you're going to allow the eyes of the elbows, which often will point forward, to turn in towards each other slightly. And then pull your shoulders back and let your heart come forward. Now, there's a tendency here to bend the elbows. Try not to bend the elbows. Push up, so there's almost a little rounding in your mid-back, your thoracic. And then slide forward and down with your ribs. And again, we're moving against gravity to push up. And exhale to come down and slightly forward, shoulders back from ears. Just 3 more here. Some call these scapula push-ups, so we're strengthening the muscles of the scapula that slide and glide on our rib cage. You might find that your scapula don't move that far. Maybe this movement is quite small. Then keep doing it and you'll start to find some space. Good, just a couple more. And all we're going to do from here is walk the knees slightly behind the hips and lower one elbow and then the other. So we're in a modified plank style position. We don't want the hips too high because we want to also tuck the tail to engage our core. Your hands can interlace or stay in prayer position, thumbs crossed. Whichever you've chosen, your elbows are right under your knees. And again, we're pushing down to expand our rib cage. And then exhale, sliding forward and down. Shoulders back. Inhale to press. Exhale to allow gravity to pull us down, but let the bones keep us from reaching the floor. Inhale to press into pinky fingers and wrist creases. Exhale to lower. Now we're doing this in an effort to build some stability into our shoulder joint so that we're not compromising it. So as you press up wide, I don't want you to get too hard or rounded. Find that place in the middle. Tuck your toes under if they're not already, and just lift the knees. Just a straight plank position. Now, if the knee or hips are quite high, lower the hips by sliding the feet slightly back, but without getting behind your elbows. Keep your shoulders over your elbows. If you get fatigued here, you'll just place the knees down, but keep going. Think crown of the head reaching forward, widening your mid-back, slight tuck of your tail, legs actively pushing forward. And then release your knees, walk them forward into child's pose, like hips, knees wide, so hips come back, and let your forehead rest between your arms. Release your hands so your palms fall open and relax your shoulders. Two, three breath here. Sighing any excess tension away. And then come back up onto hands and knees. And stretch your left leg back behind you. Now a little bit of plank work here. So if the shoulders are a troublesome area, you can do this on your forearms too, but having that extra space can be nice with the straight arms. So stack the bones, claw into the mat, press down through your left toes and lift your right knee. Now your toes can stay on the floor or lift up too, that's up to you, but step your right foot back, bring your left knee in. Again, toes can touch down for a little extra support, but start to challenge yourself to lift the toes. Step back, right foot comes in, knee in towards the chest, right foot back, left foot forward, left foot back, right foot forward, right foot back, left foot forward, left foot back, right foot forward, right foot back, one more, left foot forward. As the left foot comes back, press back to downward dog. Now when we go into downward dog, we're just changing the angle in the shoulder. Let the head go, give it a nod yes and a shake no. Bring your feet together at the back edge of your mat and simply step your right foot outside of your right thumb. So as you come forward, you can lower the back knee and turn your right toes out. As you turn the toes out, you're in a bit of a lizard position, so we're getting into that hip. I want you to focus on the back foot behind you. You can have your hand on your knee, but also be really mindful here. What's the elbow doing? Is the eye pointing forward? Turn it, press out of the shoulder so you're not collapsing into it. And from here, your back foot knee's going to lift, and then the heel comes down. Now we have the leg for support. So press into the pinky toe edge and work the obliques, the side of your waist, to lift your hips up. Your arm can reach up or hand can stay on your hip. Feel free to look down if the neck is troublesome or to the side, or look over your shoulder. We're working into the hip, but we're also working this sideways. Now you have the option to stay here a couple more breaths, or keep walking that right foot down the edge of your mat until you feel like you could slide your right foot on top of your left. Breathe, hips up. Wherever you are, maybe reach up. Flex your toes. And wherever you ended up, if your right foot is stacked, step it forward Bring your hands back down, right hand back down, I should say, and step back, downward facing dog. We'll go right to the other side. So from your down dog, step your left foot outside your left foot outside your left hand. Bring your right knee down to start. And remember, anywhere along this, you can pause. And I encourage you to pause and really consider where your arm, your shoulder, your core is engaged. As you press down and you lift your hips up, think of that back foot as the knee comes up and the foot rolls out. You might have to walk the foot further down. Use the left foot to zip up the legs. Left arm can reach or hand on the hip. Option to toe, heel the foot around. Transition the weight. Flex the toes, hips off the floor. Last 3, 2. Bring your left foot to step forward and come all the way back into downward facing dog. Now from your down dog, tiptoe your feet up to the middle of your mat, feet together, and release your head. Take your hands up behind you with a bend in your knees. Interlace your fingers at your tail. Truly let your head go. So in my experience, side planks can give us a lot of tension in our shoulders. So as we squeeze the elbows, squeeze the hands, lift the hands towards the sky to open up the pecs, the chest, and release the mid back. 3. Let gravity take your head. 2. What are you holding on to? Let it fall here. As you bring your hands back down to the floor, lift halfway, and step into that hands and knees position again. And we're going to work on our hip opening. You can start here. If this is a lot, I'll give you another option, but bring your right knee between your wrists, lift your back knee, and open up your right foot to the left side. It's kind of like half pigeon, but your knee's in the middle. Now you'll walk your hands forward and bring your left knee to tuck behind your right and open your foot. So this is where it can get tricky, having a blanket or a block nearby. As you sit your hips back, you can sit up onto a prop. Now you might not need the prop, but really notice if the hips shifted side to side. Now, if this is a lot for the knees or they're starting to kind of slide out, I like to do a modification as I come back and let the top leg come out slightly if there's a lot of intensity in that hip. So wherever you are, catch the fronts of the knees and just do a quick articulation of inhale up, cat-cow spine, exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, open, exhale back. As you find your center here, I want you to take your fingertips down by your sides. Turn your chin over your left shoulder, so like you're looking over your left fingertips. Close your eyes. Bring your right hand onto your tail, the back of your hand to your tail, and perhaps walk across to catch your left hip. So the back of the hand touches the back of your left hip. And we're just creating a little resistance here. As your chin is over your left shoulder, start to bring the chin down towards the shoulder, and this may increase the neck-shoulder connection. These subtle muscles, the scalenes they're called, that help support holding our head on top of our shoulders. If it helps, you can take your left hand to hold your right wrist or tug it a little further around. Now, all you're going to change is to lift the chin back up, turn the head back to neutral, and take your left hand on top of your right knee or your forearm to press. And you'll take a subtle turn a little further to your right, a seated twist. Now, here you can open the palm, touch the thumb and the forefinger. This is Yana Mudra. A mudra is meant to maintain an energetic touch point. So when our hand is open, energy is leaving or coming in. When we're really working with our own energy, touching the fingertips keeps the energy circulating within us. Now take your chin over your right shoulder, close your eyes, tall as you breathe in, rotating navel to spine as you breathe out. Now as you unwind back to center, release the arms. You have two options here. You can lean back to release the legs or come over your knees if that's available. If you come over, stretch the legs back to your tabletop beginning, and bring your left knee between your wrist creases and your left foot to the outer right edge of your mat. You do that to make space for your hips. As you walk your hands forward, right knee right up behind the left knee, open the toes and flex your feet so that the tension, if it's in your knees, if it's too much, you can just sit down and bring one leg across like we've done in the past. You can sit up on a prop or gradually release the top or the bottom leg. I'd suggest the top if possible, but just make sure your knees are happy. Don't play with the knees in pain. Fingertips by your side. Take a breath and look over your right shoulder. Close your eyes. Take the back of your left hand to your tail, to your sacrum, and walk it further and further over, like a little inchworm. So maybe you catch the outside of your right hip. You might just touch it with the fingers, the back of the hand. Now start to bring your chin down towards your right shoulder. And let your breath be fulsome, expansive in all directions. And you can fine tune the angle of the neck and the shoulder just by lifting or lowering the chin. You'll gradually lift the chin up, turn the head back to center of the chest, bring your right hand to the top of your left thigh or your forearm. With a little pressure there, rotate to the left side, walking your left hand maybe a little further around behind you. Sitting tall on the in-breath, looking over the shoulder on your out-breath, close your eyes. Use the inhale to go taller. Yana Mudra with your thumb and your forefinger. Remembering your intention to connect with ease, with release. Now gradually unwind back to center. You can stretch the legs this time out in front. Come off any props you might be on. Go ahead and lie onto your back. So as we lie back here, bring the knees back into your chest. Place your feet flat. Right hand on your belly, left hand on your heart, widen the feet. And if you feel the need to sway the knees a couple times here to release any tension in the hips, go for it. Otherwise, either feet wide, knees together, or an option to bring feet together, knees wide. And this will now target the inner legs. I want you to go back to your breath, from the beginning, breathing your low belly towards the ceiling, and then tucking your ribs in as you exhale. Let the shoulders stay broad. Think breath in for 5, 4, 3, 2. At the very top, relax the shoulders, the head, the jaw. Exhale steadily for 5, 4, 3, 2. Pause, full breath. Pause, exhale. Do 3 more at your own pace. After your last cycle of breath, you let the palms open up, the arms by your sides. Take the legs long, let the feet fall apart. Scanning your body for any holding patterns, any tension, residual that needs to release. Let your jaw drop, let your tongue be heavy, let your facial expression soften. And just pause for a beat. Feel what you feel, hear what you hear. Know that everything is available to you when you're willing to listen, to see and hear. With a welcome intuition, a welcome knowledge of within you that is just urging your mind body to nurture through breath, through connection. Feel free to stay here as long as you need. If you want to find the movement right away, stretch the arms overhead and wiggle out of your waist, get longer. Let the muscles be at full length. And then bend the elbows, bend the knees, and roll onto your right side. Take a moment to pause. And then return back to a tall seat. With eyes closed, let your hands come to greet at heart center and completion. Bow your head inward. Let the breath empty fully. Only from a blank canvas can we fully create from nothing. Allow yourself the opportunity today, tomorrow, and the days to follow to find the space to create from nothing. Not from a past experience, not from a future idea, from nothing. Namaste. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you so much.